This is my very first diorama where I used the ground effects that I learned from Andy Klein from Andy's Hobby Headquarters. I'll try to zoom in here a little bit better. But this is, you know, it's a very old Tamiya kit, comes with 5 figures, and that's just brilliant. You know, if you're just getting into it, you got the whole package right there, and then you can come up with your own terrain. So it's just a wonderful kit for that. There's not a heck of a lot of detail on the vehicle, and I have no excuse for that paint job. I have no idea what I was thinking. It's not really even a paint job. It was just me dabbing paint on it. These figures didn't come out too bad. I was, you know, I kind of dog myself on my figures because I really have issues with my own figures. And then I'll see something I did, it's like, well, that's actually not too bad. I do want to kind of tell a little story. I want to make something a little bit conceivable. Now, when they give you these figures, they're molded in such a way that they almost tell their own story. You know, one guy's running out, one guy's on the gun. You know, this guy's got binos, the guy on the left, the lieutenant, I'm thinking, you know, the officer that's with him. He's like calling him up to set up a position. You know, they go through this little tiny waddy, and on the other side they set up a machine gun, a crew serve weapon. And I think that's neat because the kit itself kind of gets you into that mode, right? It gets you thinking that you can make a little story out of the kit and the figures. I mean, I think that's just brilliant because it helped me. It totally told me that I could do that. So what is this? This is foam, just the regular pink foam that I always use. I carved it with my Fordham. Love it. My Fordham is the best. I used real rock. I used real pebbles and stuff like that. I used the scenic glue from Woodland Scenic, glued everything down. Then I did dusts and then I overshot it. And I did actually quite a bit of work because I didn't know what it was doing. I was trying to get, you know, a look. And one of the things, and I'm going to zoom in again, one of the things that I really liked about doing this was there can be sandy areas in the wadi and stuff like that. But there can also be rock or just hardened sandstone under the loose sand. And that's kind of what I'm doing with those cliffs, because those little cliffs there are a little bit darker. And that just told me, man, I can really actually get a believable surface. And that's the thing that had discouraged me all in the past when I tried to do plaster. Plaster always seemed to be something that I never got a handle on. Now, I did do plaster, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you that one next. This is my Battle of Narvik. I got to tell you, this is a really fun one. I really like this diorama. This started out a long time ago where my nephew, he was over and we wanted to build something. And he wanted to build a tank and I wanted to do a display for it, a diorama for it. And so I built this, sides of it, the bridge and all that, but that was it. I got it that far, and then I had a couple figures, but that was really it. I hadn't ever detailed it out, and I you know, hadn't really finished it off. Well, 3 or 4 years later, I pulled it back out, said I'm going to finish it up because I got a different tank. One much more appropriately sized for the little tiny bridge that I'd done. When I got the Panzer one, I wanted to look up and see, you know, what engagements it was involved in to kind of, you know, get an idea for a story. I stumbled upon the Battle of Narvik and I you know, went right down the rabbit hole with that. Underneath the bridge, there's a cart, and that cart has been damaged. And from up above on the bridge, there's a guy with a searchlight, and he's looking down and he sees an old woman who is under great duress because her cart that she's taking into market for the following morning. This is about 11:30 at night. And so the cart shows the old woman to the left, the cart broken down. But what you can't see from the guy above is, he can't see actually, is you see what's on her back? She's armed. And she's actually the leader of the resistance, which I love that part of the story. And I mean, I made up my own story, but it's based on all the factual stuff. Now, what is happening under the bridge is you've got the Polish pod hail soldiers who were a unit that were reformed in France after Poland had fallen. These were soldiers that were in France at the time Poland fell, and so they gathered all the Polish soldiers together, recreated a new unit, and then they went out and fought during World War II along with the French on the Allied side. In this scenario, what they're doing is on the front of the cart, it is these are apples. You know, there's just a bunch of apples, and then there's the busted cartwheel. But on the back of the cart, they're unloading ammunition and they're preparing to blow this bridge. This guy over here is like a sentry, and he has got some, I don't know what they're called, but they're like periscope binoculars or something like that. He's like on the watch, and then the other guys are doing the loading, and then they'll blow this bridge. Now, as a distraction, what we have on the other side is the First Lady's accomplice. And her accomplice is over here talking to the other guard, and there's a fire barrel. The guard, you know, he's got a cigarette in his hand, so he's smoking cigarettes. The girl has cigarettes, so she's smoking cigarettes. They happen to be French cigarettes. They're in Norway. The German guard, they don't have that good of cigarettes, so she's getting that. In the little crate by her feet, there's wine and bread, so they're having a bottle of champagne. So she's totally distracting these guys. You know, they're part of the ruse. And this is in preparation for the battle the following morning in Narvik, Norway.